Teacher harassed by MLM PTSO mom. Some of my students had mentioned to her that they were concerned about my weight. Oh my God, these people! People don't stay overweight if they eat properly. Well, if you weren't fat, then you don't have to worry about it. 4 months of It Works ruined my mental health, which meant that you didn't get your brains out. What? This was not a Christian church. This was the Church of Amway. 12-step program sponsor created an Amway church. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica Hickson, and I spent 5 years working my way up to the top of an MLM before realizing they're just not all that they're cracked up to be. My goal with this channel is to rescue some Huns, to prevent some from becoming Huns, and to also give those a voice who have left the Hunbot industry, like myself.
It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling.
Today's small business shout out comes from a subscriber named Tiffany. However, this is not her business. This is just a small business that she would like to nominate for a small business shout out. She would like to nominate a business called Mystic Valley St. Louis. She said Mystic Valley offers herbs, crystals, incense, books, and other spiritual supplies for all religions. They also include a free crystal with every purchase. She said the staff there has always been so amazing and kind to her, so she would like to nominate them for the small business shout out. If that's something that you're interested in, I will leave all of the links to Mystic Valley St. Louis in the description below. Today's member shout out goes to Megan Ellis. Thank you so much, Megan, for all of your support, and to all of my channel members. Thank you guys so much. If you're not a channel member but you'd like to become one, there should be a join button down below. I also leave it linked in the description of all of my videos. However, the cheapest and easiest way to support the channel is to click that subscribe button right now, click the like button, and also leave a comment down below. It helps my channel out so much more than you guys will ever know. But that's all the shout outs I have for you guys today, so let's go ahead and get on with today's video. All right, you guys, so I was going through my email today because I'm kind of in the process of a shift of things behind the scenes. So I was going through my emails and I found a couple of stories that I wanted to touch on that I just am like mind blown that people out there like this exist. And they're stories from you guys. So if you guys have sent me a story, by the way, I'm always accepting stories. I have a link somewhere down here that has the what is it called? Form that you fill out if you have a story that you'd like to submit, or you can send it to my MLM horror story at gmail.com. However, I love reading your guys' stories. I may not cover all the stories just because I do get a lot in my inbox, but some of them I'm just mind blown by and I may cover. So send me all your stories if you have any. They can be MLM stories. They don't have to be MLM stories. I'm going to get back on Storytime Tuesdays sometime soon. I'm telling you guys, it's freaking hard to keep up when the kids are out for the summer. Anywho, I wanted to go through some of these stories with you guys. I haven't read all of the stories. I kind of skimmed over what each one was about, but this first one has me shooketh. So let's dive into it. Okay, so this email was titled, Teacher Harassed by MLM PTSO Mom. So it reads, I'm a high school teacher and I was recently targeted by an MLM mom who I got into a confrontation with regarding masking, and she turned it into an issue with my weight, even claiming that some of my students had mentioned to her that they were concerned about my weight. I was horrified to hear this, and it had a horrible impact on my self-esteem for months. Only recently, I discovered the anti-MLM community and then realized when I researched a bit to find that she is indeed a Beachbody MLM coach. I have included some of our interaction screenshots. I would be willing to talk about this with you on your show. Thank you for all that you do to expose this kind of disgusting, immoral behavior. We work incredibly stressful jobs that don't deserve this kind of treatment, and these messages go to show that the abusive behavior extends beyond the MLM network itself and out into the community at large. So after we kind of read through these messages, I will likely reach out to her and get like a full story time and see if she wants to come on and talk about it. If that's something you guys would be interested in, leave a comment down below, but let's dive into the text messages. So she kind of cut a little bit of it off. I assume it had like personal information or something, but it starts off with saying specific things you should be doing if you want to watch your weight. I also know a handful of your students who have mentioned to me they were concerned about your health as well. They gave me the impression that you were overweight significantly. Nothing to be ashamed of. I was overweight. What you should be ashamed of is being unhealthy and doing nothing about it. That is what is shameful about our society. I watched the guy smoke a cigarette outside the Food Lion off of Churchton Street right before he put his mask on to go into the grocery store. Come on, that's a no-brainer. Midst of a pandemic involving lung infections, but still smoking cigarettes. That is what I find ridiculous. Really overweight, but checking out at the grocery store with a ton of junk food in your cart. Ridiculous. All I'm saying is in the midst of a deadly pandemic, don't you think we should be doing whatever we can to get healthier? And this person said back, the teacher said back, I'm not even sure how to respond to this. 1, I have nothing to do with your post being removed from the board, especially considering that my replies to your posts are also being removed as a result. 2, I have never been a smoker, so I'm not sure where that cigarette smoking comments are coming from or how they relate to me, unless you are referring to my weight being like smoking, which is not at all the same. Fact. My weight is none of your business or my students'. Fact. But since you seem to be so concerned for my healthy weight, I can let you know that I was a ballet dancer and I had a severe eating and weighed 89 pounds before I was hospitalized for an esophageal ulcer that was pouring acid into my abdomen, which damaged my kidneys and intestines. This also caused lasting damage to my metabolism and my body's ability to adequately process and digest certain foods. I don't buy tons of junk food, and I make sure that my children both have healthier eating habits and body image habit than I did, which primarily means keeping them away from people who say things like you have said here in your message. Recovery from my eating disorder has been a long road, and learning how to deal with it has been a true challenge, and learning to love my body at whatever size is hard enough without people judging me without knowing a damn thing about me other than I am fat. Amen, sister. I feel you on that. But honestly, the fact that she even has to explain herself to this lady is just ridiculous. The lady said back, all I said was it is time to get healthier. No one can say they are at their best, not even myself. Time to work harder. Eating disorders do damage your body, but humans are by design made to heal. So if your metabolism has been damaged, there is an easy fix for that. I don't know what you even look like, but you told me if I wanted to be back in school, I needed to do everything to make that happen. Wear a mask, wash hands, social distance. It felt to me that you were accusing me of not doing that when from day one in February, I began sewing masks by hands for friends and took a ton of criticism. People called me nuts for making masks, and I said, nope, this is the wave of the future. I have done everything I can, and no way am I going to approach a person without a mask and tell them to wear it. Didn't you hear about that security guard that did that and got shot? It's a little extreme. Like, what are you insinuating? I do everything the CDC says and more. I make my vessel healthier. We can all do this no matter where you stand in fitness level. So you asked me to wear a mask, wash my hands, distance, and I am asking you to make yourself stronger through... Babe. She can't even spell exercise. Through exercise, healthy food, and water intake. I promise you, people don't stay overweight if they eat properly. So I'm asking you, since you do seem very concerned of catching this, to make yourself strong. Loving yourself has nothing to do with your weight, but I will tell you, if you take great care of your body, you will feel the love you put into it. And this teacher said back, loving yourself has nothing to do with your weight. You are right. I'm going to ask that you please not contact me about this again. This person, so manipulative. Sorry you feel so bad. I just wanted to help. Clearly, you don't want that. I will kindly ask you to not bash things I post, as I feel just as hurt when I'm bashed as you feel now. But no mistakes. I was only trying to help. Just seems to me that in the midst of a deadly disease, we should all be eating raw veggies, exercising, spelled incorrectly, every day, and drinking a ton of water. You do you, girl. I'ma go work out. Won't bother with you again. Man, what a way to represent Beachbody. And then she messaged again and said, so it's you threatening me. Go ahead. Do whatever you want to do to me. I feel like I have to get this full story now because that's the last message that she sent me. And I feel like there's a lot more to it that I need to hear. So we will be chatting with her. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, I don't know why people think it's okay to correlate like body shaming with COVID. Like they automatically jump to the conclusion that, well, if you weren't fat, then you don't have to worry about it, when everyone has to worry about it. Exhibit A. Okay, so this next story is from a subscriber named Sydney. And she actually also said, like, clearly I haven't been in my email in a while. I hired an assistant and I'm just like, girl, you take care of it. But I am just blown away by these stories. Okay, so this story is from a subscriber named Sydney, and she also said that she would speak to me more in depth about this, so I'm probably going to reach out to her as well. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to write down these names of people so I don't forget to reach out to them and get their full story, because their stories are very interesting to me. Okay, so the subject of this email is 4 months of It Works ruined my mental health. You guys know that I have a special place in my heart for It Works. This place is like a black hole and I hate it. But needless to say, there's a special place in my heart for It Works. But it reads, girl, 4 months in an MLM backslid my mental health so bad. I joined in May 2020 and left in September or October of 2020 after I met my boo. Not because of him, but I was already on my way out at the time, coincidentally. So I was the girl that was always very anti-MLM, but fell into it because of being in such a hard spot due to the pandemic. Oh, that pisses me off, because so many people fell victim to them during the pandemic because they knew that and they preyed on people because of it. I saw a girl on TikTok, reached out and jumped in head first. Typical story of love bombing at first. I got put into the leadership chat pretty quick and I was wearing rose-colored glasses. I was always on Zoom between power hours working with my besties and all the trainings. Good grief, all of the not required trainings that were required. Feel that. I never promoted above distributor and I was working hours. My largest check was around $80. All of the promises fell short. I was in the 99% that fail. When I left, I got so much hate. I was blocked and unfriended by all but one person from my team. When I left, I had been broke back down to the I am not enough mentality because 1, I left, and 2, I didn't provide. The big thing that got me is my enroller texted me a very snarky message that ended with, I thought we were friends. How can you be friends with someone you talk directly to for less than 30 minutes a month? Possible? Yes. I don't talk to all of my friends all the time, but the only times we talk is when it benefits you and is for a coaching call that I had to schedule time to speak with her, and it was only 15 minutes at a time. Like, hun, come on. There is so much more to it, but that's all I feel like typing. If you want more insight, my cell is below. I'd be happy to go more into depth. Unfortunately, Sydney, that is not an uncommon experience. That's the experience of so many people in MLMs, though that doesn't negate the fact that it was a horrible experience, and I'm sorry that you went through it. I will be reaching out to get more info because I like telling your guys' stories. So this next story is from a subscriber named Ashley, and she said, hey Jessica, I found you on TikTok yesterday, which led me to your YouTube channel, and I've been binging your It Works series ever since. My mom's friend used to work for It Works too, and she posted a lot of those cringy posts you were talking about. We all did. Anyways, around 2 years ago now, my husband went to Discount Tire to get some new tires for our truck. We were completely broke, had a 1-year-old, lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we were not in a good place financially. Our tires were completely bald, so we couldn't put it off anymore and decided to buy new ones instead of groceries for the next few weeks. While he was there, the guy at the counter said he looked like a sharp young man. Oh, this is just my side job. You should hear about my real business, he said. Oh, cannot tell you how many times I've heard that line. He set up a meeting to talk with my husband about this opportunity, and he went. My husband Josh and I have always wanted to start a business. We were barely 20 at the time, and the only MLMs were ever heard of were Pampered Chef and Mary Kay. After this meeting, Josh comes home and tells me all about it. I was super skeptical and didn't want to go to the next meeting, but we needed the money and I wanted to support my husband, so I agreed. I wore my only dress and Josh put on a button-up shirt and his nice jeans, and we went to a business meeting at a hotel in the next city over. Of course, we didn't have to pay the $10 fee to get in. This time. What? Somebody tried to sucker me into Amway when I was in college, And they always tried to get me to come to these meetings and bring people with me. So I'm wondering if it's that same type of meeting. I never got suckered in though. We were very underdressed. They said business casual, but everyone looked so fancy it made us feel like real adults to be surrounded by people that looked and acted so confident. After listening to the Diamond and Emerald speakers that night, even I was hooked. The meetings were required and were every Thursday night and ran until well past midnight most of the time. My bedtime's like 8:30 max, 8:45. This was a problem because A, we had a 1-year-old, and B, Josh had to be at work at 5 a.m. and the hotel was a half hour from our house. By the time we got home, he could only sleep for 2 or 3 hours. Against my better judgment, we signed up. And then the hidden fees rolled in. We had to buy the $40 laundry detergent because why would you pay your competitors $5 when you can pay yourself $40? Of course, we never saw that money again. We had to buy the expensive products. It was an additional $60 a month for access into their own version of Audible, where you get audios of the higher ups making speeches and things that you were required to spend at least 3 hours a day listening to. Your upline had access to your account, could check and see if you were actually doing it or not. After about a month, it was getting very difficult to keep up with. We had only been able to sell to a couple of friends and family members and hadn't gotten any downline at all. We were losing faith in Amway, so our Emerald upline invited us to his house to have a talk with him and his wife. They had 3 fancy cars, a huge 2-story house, and lots of fancy and pretty things inside. They told us that if we're struggling to make our PV goals, then we should start buying product before we pay our bills and our rent. What? Oh my God, these people, relentless. Thankfully, we never did. Good. And when I brought up how the meetings were running too late for us to keep going consistently because we felt bad waking my mother-in-law up so late to pick up the kid that Josh and I needed time to sleep before work, they accused us of not wanting to pay someone to babysit. We literally couldn't, and told Josh to quit his job. On top of that, they had a national conference in North Carolina that they kept pressuring us to go to that cost $500. We put our foot down and didn't go, and they were very pissed at us. That was basically the end. We lost hundreds of dollars trying to keep up, couldn't get anyone sign up at all, and ran our health into the ground over the course of 5 months. I'm surprised we kept up that long. We had to borrow money from our parents to pay bills. I'm so glad we woke up before it got any worse. We will never join another MLM after that. And of course, all of our friends ghosted us and we haven't spoken to them since. But yeah, that's our Amway horror story. I hope this was at least a little entertaining. Entertaining it was. However, I do feel bad because so many people have this experience. They try to talk you into doing things like quitting your job and cutting off your friends and neglecting your children and, you know, buying things that you don't need before the things that you do need so that they get their money for sure. It's so disgusting. Ugh. Okay, so this email is titled "Huns Are Still Using Your Old Posts," which I know, and I kind of explained this before, but basically with It Works, you weren't allowed to post your own before and after photos unless you submitted them to corporate and they slapped a disclaimer on them. However, once you submit them to corporate and they slap that disclaimer on it, you're handing over your rights to those photos. So they're legally able to keep using them for as long as they want to, which sucks because they use them out of context. They act like I used products that I didn't. They try to upsell with product packs saying that I used X, Y, and Z when I didn't, but they want more money out of it. So they forget to acknowledge the fact that like I had just had a baby in the before photo and then I didn't in the after photo. Like it was later on in the after photo. They refused to acknowledge the fact that I also did CrossFit 6 days a week and drastically changed my diet. Like they just try to make it like,
Oh, all I did was replace my morning coffee.
anyways. I know that they're still using my photos and they're legally allowed to, although it is shitty, and I have called people out for it and my subscribers have had called people out for it. I see it less frequently now because I think people know, but They're allowed to, unfortunately. Anyways, it reads, "Hey Jessica, I hope you're doing well. I started binge watching your channel and others like Deanna Mims, CC Suarez, and Isabella Lanter about 3 weeks ago. I recently just got out of It Works, and it's very comforting knowing that I'm not the only one who had a bad experience in an MLM. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. Sorry if it's long and all over the place." Girl, I am all over the place all of the time, so you don't need to apologize to me. "So in the beginning of January this year, I signed up to be a distributor with It Works. I had been friends with this girl on Facebook for a couple years and had seen a few of her posts about making extra money from her phone and all her monthly giveaway posts. I had no idea what company she worked for and would comment on her giveaway posts every now and again. Never won, obviously, because I didn't realize until later that it wasn't just her giveaway. It was her whole team and they get thousands of entries. Anyway, she would message me every few months trying to get me to buy products and eventually started to ask me if I wanted to join her. I was sucked into buying their 2-day cleanse, and long story short, the product tasted disgusting and didn't work at all." So the 2-day cleanse did absolutely nothing for anyone that I know that used it. Nothing. They say it was white pants approved, which meant that you didn't shit your brains out, and that's because it didn't do anything. She also didn't even let me know that I was going to be charged for this product for 3 months in a row. I was under the impression it was a one-time buy. Calling customer service to cancel my order was a nightmare, and in the end I was still charged for all 3 months because I refused to pay the $50 cancellation fee. I was really mad at this girl for basically trapping me into a subscription without me knowing. I let her know the whole situation and I felt like she brushed me under the rug. So after a few months of ignoring this girl, my anger subsided and I moved on. She would then just randomly message me asking me if I needed an extra income and said that I'd be great at what she did. Anyone with a heartbeat would be great at it. You'll find that very soon if you haven't already. At first, I wasn't interested because at the time I was super busy with my 9-to-5 as a vet tech and didn't think I could put in the time with anything else. But any excuse I had, she had a reason why my excuse wasn't valid and that I could do this. I kept seeing all her posts on how happy she was with her company, making new friends, replacing her income of her corporate job, and paying off her car, all from this side hustle. I gave in to her and figured, why not give it a try? I was desperate for money, barely able to pay my bills, and felt like this was the only way I'd be able to make extra money since it was all from my phone. I was told I only needed 1 hour a day to put into the business to see a profit and thought I could fit it in with my normal job. At the time, it was only $39 to join, and this girl motivated me enough to where I wanted to start my own business. Mind you, I was still not even aware of what company this even was. Shortly after joining, I quickly realized that it would take way more than an hour a day. We were given daily checklists with how many posts we needed to get up, follow 100 people on Instagram and Facebook daily, message 100 people daily, make at least one TikTok and reel daily. We'd have family Zoom calls pretty much every night, not counting the power hours, which I was never able to attend anyway as they happened while I was at work. This was very overwhelming for me as I struggle with anxiety and basically never posted on social media before this. But I was taught that this is what we need to do to be successful. My upline would text me daily asking if I needed any help but wouldn't actually give me any solid advice. Between her and all the Zoom calls that were supposed to teach us how to be better at our business, I learned that none of it was actual solid advice. It was always just half-ass motivation, like you have to believe in yourself and just keep grinding and eventually you'll be like me. I would be on the phone constantly messaging people, posting and trying to grow my following because I basically started with nothing. I felt like any free time I had needed to go to my business. I was overworked, exhausted, and mentally drained. I felt bad trying to message people I didn't even know for them to try my products or join my team. We used the Boards app so we could just copy and paste a bunch of messages to hundreds of people, and I was never able to form a relationship with anyone. It all felt robotic and scammy. I only ended up getting to Ruby, which got me a $150 bonus to buy products for myself, but still didn't think it was worth all this effort. At the end of February, I started to see the light. I was trying to be someone I wasn't, trying to show people how amazing my life was with this business when I wasn't making shit. I was never even able to get anyone to join my team. I eventually decided that I was done. I was tired of constantly trying to relate everything I did to how great the business was to me, when in reality, the business was doing nothing for me. I didn't sign up to make millions. I just wanted enough to make extra grocery money. At the same time, I didn't want my whole life to revolve around It Works. I was scared to tell my upline that I was done because I thought we had formed a pretty good friendship. But now I realize that she was my only friend because she wanted me to do well and make a profit, because in turn that meant she would do well and make even more money. In the end, I got a text from her saying that she was actually stepping back from It Works and focusing on her normal job. She didn't say why, but that she believed in me and said she was making about $2,000 a month at one point, and I could get there too if I kept pushing. She gave my number to one of her uplines and said to reach out to her if I needed anything. I got a text from this girl and it looked like one of those generic copy-paste messages. I never responded and just silently quit, then removed everything involving It Works from my social media. Since then, I still follow a couple of high-up girls in the company on Instagram just to see what they're doing, because after watching your videos and other anti-MLM videos, I know the truth. I feel bad for thousands of girls that are being sucked into It Works and other MLMs because they're in a tough situation and need money and crave those friendships that they're promised when joining. They see these influencers living their best lives and want to have that too. It's sad that these leaders are lying to people for their own profit. I want to comment on so many of their stories and posts, but I know they'll end up blocking me and moving on. They're so brainwashed into believing that this company can change lives. Thank you so much for what you do and creating content that informs people who may be considering joining an MLM or people who are in an MLM and want to get out. Your story is truly inspiring and shows that even if you get to the top of an MLM company, you will struggle and not make as much as they claim you will. Sorry for the long read. I hope you made it to the end. Just yesterday, I saw a girl post before and afters and saw your pictures. I so badly wanted to message her and ask her if she even realized that you don't support It Works anymore and that you didn't just use the products, but you actually worked very hard on your physical fitness. I attached her post in this email. Anyways, stay safe and keep doing you. I look forward to your post on YouTube. Keep sharing the truth and exposing the Hun bots. And then she attached the photo that people are using of me. And this is the one that goes around everywhere. Anyways, I know I've said it a million times, but this type of experience is not uncommon, unfortunately. And I understand every single thing that you said in your story because that's exactly what I lived for 5 years and did exactly those things. Add 100 people, message 100 people, yada, yada, yada. That's what I did. Okay, so this is going to be the last story that I tell for this video, but this email is titled 12-Step Program Sponsor Created in Amway Church. Holy mind blown. Okay, so I'm going to keep this person anonymous because they've asked me to do so, but this story is crazy. I haven't even read the whole story yet, but that subject line in itself is like, what? Okay, so hey Jessica, you are my gateway channel into the anti-MLM world, and I've been binging anti-MLM since. I just realized I have my own MLM horror story, and unfortunately is still playing out. Please keep me anonymous in your video. I, a few years ago, joined a 12-step program. When I joined this program, I know how crucial it was to get a sponsor and got one within my first 5 meetings. I am a Christian and picked a sponsor who gave the impression that she too was a Christian. I'm sure you can guess where this is going. Now I understand that lots of Christian denominations disagree, and I have had many good-natured debates with some of my friends over a variety of political issues or Bible interpretations over the years. However, when my sponsor started to take me through the steps, it became increasingly evident that she had never actually read the Bible and really knew nothing about Christianity. I'm not talking about disagreeing over scripture verses or having different perspectives on how Christianity should be applied to political perspective. I mean, she was a Christian but had no real opinion on whether or not Jesus was the Son of God. Kind of the whole point of Christianity. I was frustrated that she presented herself as a Christian when she wasn't one. But what I found was more troubling was that she said she and her husband had helped start a Christian church. As much as I felt deceived, I figured she was still a good sponsor and pushed it to the back of my mind. Upon our many conversations, she began to increasingly mention her business. When I asked her what kind of business she owned, she would be extremely general and vague. She would consistently slip into the conversation that she and her husband were going to both retire in 18 months. This sounded just like the crap my friend used to say who was an Arbonne, but my sponsor never posted anything MLM-ish on social media, so I just shrugged it off. I suspect she was trying to get me to join her business opportunity. However, she could never directly pitch it to me because she would violate all sorts of traditions within the 12-step program. But she sure made sure to let me know all about the amazing life that they would one day have. Again, I pushed this to the side and tried to focus on the program and the steps. Then she began recommending different personal development books that were not approved in the 12-step reading. This is a bit of a no-no in the 12-step programs. Now I was beginning to get frustrated. I wasn't reading what she recommended, and I could tell she was getting frustrated. She would go away on these amazing conferences with her mentors and business partners and come back and gush all about it and how rejuvenated and motivated she felt. Again, I found this super annoying. One day when I was talking about something pertaining to my own faith, she mentioned that I should check out her church and her pastor's sermons. I immediately was dismissive in my head because I know that her church had not given her any real Christian formation. In fact, it seemed like a lot of prosperity gospel and personal development rather than Christianity, but I asked for the name of her church because I was curious. She told me it was called V1 Church. I began Googling and looking at their website, and everything about it just felt like a cult to me. The preachers were extremely attractive and it turns out extremely rich and spoke like salesmen. I am very skeptical of wealthy pastors because of Bible verses such as Matthew 19:24. I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. I asked my sponsor how she got involved with this church that she helped found, and that is when she told me that they were actually her business partners and mentors. Cue eye rolls here. I realized that this was definitely some sort of pyramid scheme, and they were using this church as a recruiting ground for whatever it was. Upon further investigation, I found that this church is run and attended by Amway members. This entire Christian church is all just a way to faith manipulate people into their scam. My sponsor had no Christian formation because this was not a Christian church. This was the Church of Amway, and she never opened the Bible because their gospel was personal development. I ended up dropping my sponsor and switching to a different program completely because whether she knew it or not, she was brainwashed by a cult, and I needed a sponsor whose advice and guidance I could trust. The entire 3 years I knew this sponsor, she was always 18 months away from retirement. A retirement I expect will never come. Since then, I have had other friends invite me to their launch party for their new business, and I just say point blank, I do not support MLMs and won't attend. If any of my friends who get involved are Christian, I always tell them that MLMs are contrary to the faith and send them some anti-MLM videos about faith manipulation. I hope you share my story because the fact that MLMs are creating complete churches to suck people in is disturbing, and some people need to know. I know that many of your viewers may not be Christian, but we all should be appalled that an MLM is creating a house of worship to trick people. May God have mercy on their souls. Keep up your amazing work. This is just disgusting because not only are they taking advantage of people who are in vulnerable situations, thus the 12-step program, but also faith manipulation together, which are just, it's a deadly combo. People who are in a vulnerable situation are easily taken over by faith manipulation, which MLMs already take advantage of. And then they're going to create an entire church around this. It's just absolutely disgusting. I'm so sorry to the subscriber who sent me this message that I will be keeping anonymous, that I almost say her name like a million gajillion times, but I'm so sorry that this happened to you. This is unacceptable, and you are correct. Regardless of anyone's beliefs, I think we can all agree on the fact that this is not okay and it's disgusting. So thank you guys so much for sending me your stories. If you have any stories like this for me to share, definitely send them. I want to keep telling your guys' stories as much as possible because, as I say in my intro, my goal with this channel is to tell the stories, like be a voice for the people who have left MLMs, prevent people from joining MLMs, and the best way to do that is through telling people stories who have had, you know, situations like this happen to them. So thank you guys so much for submitting your stories to me. If you have any, definitely do submit them, whether MLM related or not. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell if you'd like to be notified every time that I post. As always, my merch is linked down below. If you'd like to join my Facebook group, it's called The Light at the End of the Pyramid. And if you'd like to follow me on all social media platforms, You can find me at the Jessica Hickson. Thank you guys again so much for watching and for all of your support. I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Moving slower.